Chapter 22. James. It was a little bit awkward transitioning from Alice's office to the car. We had to walk past all her employees and mine. I figured there was no way to accomplish that without making at least a small announcement, but when I called everyone to attention, the fanfare was dramatic. "There's something that we need to confess," I began, swinging Alice's hand in mine. A chorus of oohs floated through the air as 24 slightly tipsy partygoers surrounded us. Everyone braced for gossip of the hottest kind, and we didn't disappoint. "We used to be married," Alice said. The knowledge blew through the room like firecrackers in a vacuum. People weren't prepared for that, even though they'd suspected that we were hooking up. An excited buzz rose from the peanut gallery, and people traded shocked expressions. "We tried to deny it," she added, "but we're still in love." Everybody chimed in with, "Ah," except for one guy in the back who let loose a dog whistle. I laughed, giving Alice's hand a squeeze. "And now we're leaving. Claire, you're in charge." A raucous cheer rose from the crowd as everyone realized what we were up to. I received a bunch of pats on the shoulder from enthusiastic helpers. Ducking out the door, it almost felt like we were a newly married couple being chased off to our honeymoon by family and friends. I half expected them to throw rice or confetti, to pop noisemakers at us and joke about the wedding night. That was essentially what happened, except without the legal backing. We debated whether to drive one car or two, and whose apartment to end up at. Alice's was closer, and that's what broke the tie. I wanted my own car, just in case, so we split up. She gave me her address, and I punched it into the GPS. Anxious to get there, I ran a red light and looked around for any lurking police officers. No one showed up to stop me, so I just kept going. It was approaching midnight on Christmas Eve, and there was no one on the road. Coasting into her parking lot, I chose a spot far from the door. She met me underneath the streetlight, her smile bright enough to chase winter away. We hurried upstairs to her place and fell into bed together. It was sweet and slow, then it was fast and horny. We did everything we were aching to do, and then some. From 11 until 3 in the morning, we danced under the sheets. Twice we paused to take showers and clean each other off. Once we stopped to raid her fridge. She didn't have a lot, but we descended like locusts on the turkey and cheese on the top shelf. Making myself a sandwich, I munched happily. She wore my button-down shirt and nothing else, while I was dressed only in boxers. We fed each other olives from a jar that looked suspiciously old. I drank 3 cups of water before picking her up and carrying her back to bed. We fooled around some more, finally passing out entangled and sweaty. Force of habit woke me up at 8 in the morning. She was already awake, though she hadn't moved to get up. Instead, she lay quietly tracing circles on my bicep with her index finger. "Good morning," I kissed her, not worrying about morning breath. "Merry Christmas," she responded, throwing her leg up over my hip. We made love again, and it was the perfect way to wake up. I couldn't get enough of her. I realized just how empty my life had been without her. I thought I was getting ahead in life, establishing my business and devoting all my time to my clients. But at the end of the day, I was lonely. There hadn't been anyone else but Alice. It was her all along. By the time we finally got out of bed, it was 10 o'clock. I wandered into her living room to admire her tree. It was decorated with garlands and lights and a few ornaments I recognized from ages ago. We'd only had one Christmas together when we were young, and I remembered Alice being extremely serious about the tree. The only thing missing from the display were the presents. She had absolutely no gifts around the tree, and the sight was distressing. Cupping my coffee mug in one hand, I pointed to the omission. "You don't have any presents under the tree." "Do you?" she asked ironically, appearing from the bedroom wrapped in a robe. "It's just me here." "Do you at least have gifts under your parents' tree?" I asked. "I have gifts for my parents," she answered. "Does that count?" "Sort of," I hedged. "What are you up to today?" "I'm going to have Chinese takeout with my brothers," I said. "What?" She laughed, plopping down on the couch. I shifted my focus from the tree to her, taking a sip of coffee. "It's been a tradition ever since our parents died. I was a wreck that first Christmas, and Dylan cheered me up with Chinese food. It just became a thing after that." "Sounds sad," she pouted. "It was at the beginning, but it's not anymore." I sat down beside her, putting a hand on her knee. "What are you doing?" "I'm going to my parents' house for dinner," she replied. We stared off into the distance together, neither of us saying anything. It was a long moment before we came back to reality, both thinking the same thing. "It would be a shame to split up," she said. "I would love to say hello to your parents," I offered. "They would love that," she agreed. "I'll text my brothers," I decided. "We can do Chinese for lunch and the big traditional thing for dinner." "Sounds great." She leaned up against me, putting her head on my shoulder. Picking up the remote, she turned the television on, and we spent the next 2 hours until it was time to meet my family watching recycled Christmas classics in what passed for pajamas.